Welcome back, everybody, to Let's Play Metroid Prime for the Nintendo GameCube. It's Prime time! For real, because today I plan on finishing this playthrough. At least the last batch of videos needed before we head up to the final area of the game and finish off the final boss and all of that jazz. But yeah, last time we went through Phazon Mines and beat up the Omega Pirate, got the Phazon suit, and beforehand, we actually went ahead and got a lot of the artifacts needed to access the final area of the game, meaning that the only one we really have left on hand to grab is actually the one over in Chozo Ruins, which I did intend on grabbing earlier. I just didn't have the plasma being on hand. On top of that, we're going to be making some last minute preparations as well, meaning I took a look at my missiles, and we're only really missing 3 missile expansions, and once we have those, we'll have achieved 100% completion, and that is all kinds of awesome. All kinds of fantastic and awesome sauce. So, yeah, let's take care of that. I don't know why, of all things, like, this thing is sealed off by an ice beam door. Like, you come into there shooting the plasma beam panel, right? And then it's, like, sealed off with an ice beam door. That doesn't quite make any sense. But yeah, this will probably be the last time we ever see these jokers. So, relish the moment, I guess, because I'm about sick of seeing these assholes. And they're a lot more aggressive than ever. I guess they know for a fact that we're hitting endgame as well. Did that actually miss? Are you kidding me? You know what? Screw this. I'm done with you guys. Screw all of you. Screw all of you and your cotton candy. That doesn't even make sense, but you know what? I don't even really care. I'm so sick of Chozo ghosts. That is it. The last Chozo artifact. The Artifact of World, the 10th of the 12. And with that, we have all 12 Chozo artifacts needed to access Impact Crater. So, before we head off into the final area, I do want to mention that the last missile expansions we need are as follows. We need one over in Magmore Caverns, which luckily past me reminded future me to go back and get. And then we have 2 extra missiles to go and grab in Tallon Overworld that we couldn't quite get until we had the Plasma Beam and the Grapple Beam and so forth. So I'll meet you guys back over in said areas. Okay, so if there was a word I could use to oh my god, what the hell? Not that. No, if there was a word I could use to describe this missile expansion, it would be karma. Very much so, because I missed another chance to go back through this same room to grab another expansion I could have gotten, and yeah, that if that isn't irony, I don't know how else I would describe it. But anyway, we need to use the X-ray scope here to scope out these invisible platforms. We just gotta use that to mosey on over to here. And shoot that open with a super missile. And with that, our last 2 missile expansions are over in Tallon Overworld. So once again, I will jump cut over to that point in time once we hit that area. Okay, here we are. I didn't have to go too far to find this elevator to Tallon Overworld, but luckily, our 2 missile expansions are pretty much right next to each other, provided you know where exactly to look. So this certainly won't take long, and I'm kind of glad I saved these 2 missile expansions for last, because it just works out perfectly. So the missile expansions we need are within this room. There's one in this room, and then there's another on the top of this structure here. So we're going to do just that. We've passed through this room several times, but we can never really explore the entirety of it until now because we needed additional upgrades to reach the top. And that's fine by me. You know, gives you extra incentive to like revisit past areas and get some more benefits out of it, I suppose. So, with that being said, we're all over in the root cave, and gonna want to jump up here. And this would normally be the stopping point, but you look over to this direction here, and we got ourselves a little grapple point that we couldn't quite do anything about before. Make sure you take your X-ray scope out, because there is a point and up here where you'll need the X-ray scope to scout out something hidden behind these walls. I can't quite articulate my thoughts today. I'm sorry. It's probably going to be somewhere on the top of this structure here. And oh wow, would you have it? Just happen to have some invisible platforms lying about here. So, okay. There's a lot of them here too. Alright, so that happens to be obstructed by some leaves. We can use the X-ray scope to spot that out. In fact, now that I think about it, wasn't there another, like, missile expansion earlier that was obstructed by tree branches and, like, Chozo ruins, and I could have just used the X-ray scope to, like... whatever, man. Like, does it really matter? Because, like, that's, like, one of the only two instances I can ever really think of off the top of my head where you're actually looking past, like, visible-ish objects to, like, spot a thing, you know? Like, I wouldn't even count that or put it past them. Blech. Anywho, that is our last missile expansion in the game. Unlike most other Metroid games where you cap out at 255 missiles, this game you do indeed cap out on 250. And I wouldn't even say most, because I know Metroid 2 Return of Samus had you cap out at 250 as opposed to 255, but... And then there's Super Metroid, which caps you out at 230 for what? Oh my god! Like, who the flip cares? Like, it's so inconsistent, but like each and every Metroid game seems to have this general cap rule that they abide by, and most of them happen to fall within the 250 or 255 category, so whatever. So, now that we're done, we're gonna head over to our ship. Fill up all of our energy, because we're most certainly going to need it, because we have an ambush waiting for us. Not that something like that would come of any surprise to anybody who's played this game before, because I'd imagine anybody who's watching this playthrough has at least beaten Metroid Prime once or twice, or has probably watched another playthrough of this game that has done a much better job than I have. But nonetheless... Now, we just need to see our percentage completion rate, so let's do just that. This will probably be the only time in the playthrough where I do something like this. And to think, I kind of do something like this a lot in the playthrough, but you guys never see it because it's off camera. But every time I run into some kind of point where I just make a complete bloop out of myself, I always have to go through this process of restarting the game over again. And yeah, there you go. Now you know about all of the behind-the-scenes shenanigans that go on in this channel. But yeah, here we are, 100% completion. We now have access to the secret ending of Metroid Prime. So yeah, that's one less worry off my back. I was worried that I would end up forgetting something, and I had to scour the internet to find these expansions. But luckily for me, my muscle memory, for the most part, has helped me in the process of picking up all of these expansions. I might have had some brain farts here and there, but at least at some point or another, I was like, okay, wait a second, maybe there was something hidden behind here. And then I ended up spotting it by chance. Like that point in Phazon Mines where I ended up, like, using a power bomb to blow up something near the entrance. But, yes, game, I am well aware, but I am going to do it anyway, because you will not leave me alone unless I do it. And man, can I just say, it feels so unreal that I'm finally finishing this playthrough, and within a record time, might I add. I was worried this game would go on for like 3 years or something, because I would just be so on and off. But I don't know, ever since I came back to this game after its hiatus, I just had this sudden Metroid drive within me again, and it just compelled me to go back and finish this game with all of this newfound knowledge and shit. And trust me, at the end of the day, nothing feels more satisfying than not only finishing a Let's Play, but a Let's Play of a very long yet excellent game. Holy shit. But yeah, the end is near, folks. So these things are going to give us our passageway into Impact Crater, an area that not even the space pirates have gotten their filthy hands into yet. And it's going to be the source of all Phazon on this planet, and we're here to wipe it out. But not without one last obstacle in the way. We've been seeing him countless times in this playthrough, and I guess it's just about high time we finally fought Meta Ridley. This fight looks very epic and climactic on paper. It's presented pretty well, actually, but in practice, I really don't like Ridley. In fact, I would argue that if I were to play through this boss the whole way through, for the convenience's sake, this would probably be my least favorite battle in the entire game. And not because it's frustrating by any means. It's because it's really boring. Very, very boring. And you wouldn't think that of a Ridley fight, because you gotta remember, just about every Metroid game that has a Ridley fight in it at least builds up to this point in the game. It's like a big climactic, meaningful point, you know? You get to fight your arch rival and kick his ass and everything. The problem is that this fight is drawn out way too freaking long, and a lot of it he is spent flying around in the air doing absolutely nothing. And it's basically a patience killer, if I had to put it into words. It's not a fight I'm too, fond of. But this is a fight that I will be using the plasma beam a lot, and as opposed to the super missiles. It's a pretty simple fight. You just want to shoot him in the chest whenever it's exposed. Makes sense, really. It's got to have a weak point somewhere past all of that cybernetic armor, because this is Ridley after the events of Metroid 1, and it's very heavily implied that once he, more or less took the beating in said game, that the space pirates actually had to go out of their way and completely restructure Ridley's infrastructure just to give him second life, and it really shows how relentless this dude is. I remember for the longest time too, I was actually kind of scared of this point in the game, because around when this game was still a thing, and it was still very fresh in everyone's minds, I was reading Nintendo Power, and they had this section in the superlatives part of the article called hardest thing since college, and they actually put the Ridley battle as one of the hardest things to come out of a Nintendo console at that point in time. And honestly, I wouldn't even really say it's difficult. It's just so needlessly drawn out. And yeah, you can see right here that I'm having to do a lot of waiting around, and he's just flying around doing a whole bunch of nothing. Make sure you jump as he lands, or he's basically going to take you out, so to speak. And again, there's just a whole lot of nothing going around. He's not even really going on the super aggressive here. But you know what? Now that I think about it in hindsight, doesn't that kind of make sense considering he's a bait and punish character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate? Oh yeah, Ridley's my main in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Fun fact of trivia for you, I guess. But yeah. Anyway, this is the part of the fight I hate the most, because you're just sitting here waiting for him to do something telegraphed, and then you move out of the way, and there's a big part of the fight where you're just not able to really do anything, and it just takes too freaking long, you know, for this whole thing to, like, just move through and just be like, okay, game, I get it. He's big, ferocious, scary, and he likes to fly around a lot. Carrie, get to the point, please. Like, god damn it. And it looks like singular plasma shots are doing a hefty amount of damage here, too. But once he starts hitting the halfway point, the battle does become at least a little bit more interesting. He stops flying and takes a more grounded approach. And from there on, the battle becomes a little bit more interesting, but it kind of runs into the Omega Space Pirate problem, where it's mostly just a fight where you're kind of keeping your distance through most of it, and that's really about it. And if he doesn't really have anything following or trailing behind him to, like, give him support either. So this battle is about as simplistic as it gets. Gotta love the remix, though. It's definitely one of the best tracks in Metroid Prime for certain. Oh, wow, he still hit me even after I jumped. That was weird. So, can we get to the point, please? I'd like to actually tell you down for once. It's doing a whole bunch of nothing. Okay, here we are. Or not. Okay, did I guess wrong? I mean, he's hitting the ground more often, but he's not exactly staying there either. Come on now. Come on, do something. Got to move out of the way of the little extra projectiles he throws along with the plasma breath he throws out at you. Okay, so now he's gonna take to the ground. Okay, I thought you actually had to, like, go through half of his health bar to do it, but no. Okay, yeah. Now you can stop wasting my time. So at this point in time, you actually want to start shooting his mouth, and once you do so, you want to hit his heart. What's funny, though, is that there is an actual sprite of his heart located underneath that chest armor, and it's just obstructed by, like, that yellow glowy stuff. And you wouldn't see it normally unless you actually took and, like, went through, like, some kind of dolphin freak, like, roaming camera or whatever and saw it. Outer Boundaries did, like, an interesting thing where they, like, detailed this. And yeah, figured, you know what, at this point I might as well show off the flamethrower. And it's not doing anything. What the heck? So much for an epic show off. Oh god. Gotta act fast for certain. Okay, so whenever he does that, he's going to lunge out at us. Okay. But it looks like I was kind of wrong about the plasma breath, or flamethrower, sorry. I kind of got the wrong thing on my mind, apparently. But, like, you can move, but it would affect your accuracy a lot, and that's never really all that good, I'd say. You also kind of want to keep your distance as well when he turns around, because that tail will swipe down and hurt you, and it throws off a lot of people, trust me. Like, I've gotten hit by it several times, and I was like, wait, what the heck's hitting me? And then I realized, oh, wait, he has a sword tail. Duh. I didn't react fast enough there. Oh, he's just going to do it again, okay. Getting reckless now, aren't we? I did not mean to do that. Oh, pff, like that. Now I'm just getting reckless. Oh my god. So you can't actually shoot him in the mouth when he does that. Okay. Interesting. I'm still getting hit here. What the heck's going on here? Okay, buddy. I need you to give me an opening, please. Alright. We got this. Okay, so whenever he does that, you can't actually shoot him in the mouth. Gotta keep that into consideration. But you can most certainly do that. So yeah, it really looks like this battle relies a lot on RNG. A lot of waiting around for him to do the right thing before he can actually do something. Or you get the unlucky RNG like I did, and have to deal with him constantly charging at you for like 5 straight minutes before you can actually do something. Ugh. That is the worst. Okay, I see what he's doing. He's actually trying to trick me. I kind of like that. I was like, why am I getting hit? I was like, I thought I had it down. Okay, so you kind of have to mix up your strafing a little bit here, too. So you kind of have to, like, delay yourself a little bit before you strafe, because he is going to try to keep his eyes out on you. And if you don't do that, and keep your consciousness in check of that said fact, then, well, you're just going to end up getting screwed. But yeah, that was the Red Ridley fight. A lot of waiting around. I love the music, though. It just seems like, to me, there's just a lot of annoying RNG in play where, like, it could be a super interesting fight, but the pacing just kind of ruins it, because, like, you have to pray to God he does this thing or another, or otherwise the fight's just gonna take forever, you know? And granted, my memory wasn't perfect as far as all of the other patterns are concerned, but, like, as you can see, there's not too much differentiation, you know, considering, like, what it goes to. But it's enough to, like, keep you on your toes, I guess. But yeah, here we are. The last area of Metroid Prime, Impact Crater. And yes, it is indeed an area, much like Chozo Ruins, Impact Crater, Phazon Mines, Phendrana Drifts, the whole 9 yards. And I say this because it has its own map, and it's a very, very small area indeed. In fact, the entire area is nothing more than a small build-up to the final boss itself. So, we're going to be checking it out in the finale of Metroid Prime. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys then.